Hey guys, so this is like a little series that I kind of wanted to start. I have a lot of free time right now, and I noticed that like every day I'm just having like a lot of these like random ass thoughts, and you know, in my opinion, some of them were like kind of interesting. So I really want to talk to somebody about them, but like ain't nobody trying to listen. You know, it's not just, like better things to do with their life. So I'm just gonna like rant about them in like this little like series thing, and then just upload it. So yeah, I think that's the strat. That's the plan. And then I'll try my best to like keep this going. I know I don't commit to a lot of things, but I don't know. We'll find out. And if anybody has anything they want me to talk about, like on like a next installment of I talk about random, I basically rant about random things. Yeah, just drop a comment. Let me know if anybody sees this, and then I'll see what I can do. Okay. So like first things first, like the whole like the one thought that really like made me want to do this is like the other day, right? I was chilling and I was in the dining hall like eating dinner, and I'm getting my food and I see this girl, right? And she's like 6'2". I'm like, damn, that's one tall girl, okay? And then I see she's wearing earbuds, like not like AirPods, but like the wired earbuds, right? And so I look and I see that the wires are like fully extended, like they literally could not reach any further. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at her, and I'm like, damn. So if you were just taller than her, would you just not be able to use wired earbuds? Like, I think that's like a reasonable question to ask, right? Because like, look, if she was 6'2", right? Okay, just like a rough estimate. I actually don't know. Let's say like if you had Victor Wembanyama, like bro's 7'4", or 7'6", I don't remember. Like, is he just like never allowed to use wired earbuds? Because like what, he's like too tall? Can he just like not put his phone in his pocket while using wired earbuds? Is that just like an issue he has? I mean, not that like I guess he's rich, doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying like as an example, you know what I mean? I always thought that was kind of weird. And then I thought about it some more, and I realized like, wait, what if you had like dwarfism and you were like really, really short? Like, would the wires just like scrape on the ground? You're just gonna end up with like dirty wires? Like, if you like use earbuds like that? You know, that really got me thinking. I was thinking about that like the entire like dinner time. And yeah, so, and then, you know, like earlier today, right? I was chilling on Discord and I was talking to some guys, and this one guy has like a walrus as his profile picture, and that really got me thinking. I was like, okay, so walruses are pretty big. They're pretty huge, right? And they have like these big ass tusks. Pretty cool. But like, what if you had like a smaller walrus, like a baby walrus? Can a baby walrus hold punch your papers? Cause like the tusks are cylindrical, kind of, like you know what I mean, right? So like if you just had like a baby walrus that was like had like smaller tusks, could you like sufficiently hold punch a paper? Assuming the paper doesn't get wet. I don't know. I thought that was a reasonable question to ask too. I haven't told anybody about that one though, because I think if I did, they would just like look at me crazy. But I don't know. I think it's a reasonable thought to have. Okay, another thing is, so one of my professors was like showing us like this music, right? And you know, it's cool and all, but it's pretty old, you know. It's like I think from the 1980s or something, but it's electronic music. And I was hearing that and I was like, wait a minute, how could we get electronic music without DAWs? Like, okay, like I'm no music producer, but like, how did they do that shit back in the 1980s, bro? I figured if I just Googled it, I'd probably know, but it honestly sounds like a little bit too much effort, so I'm just gonna talk about it here. But yeah, I just thought that was crazy, because I've been messing around with FL Studio a little bit recently. And I think about like these songs in like the fucking 1900s that like are electronic, and I'm thinking like, damn, these guys are so much better than me. And this was like 50 years ago. So yeah, like I don't know, that was kind of crazy. Didn't even have YouTube tutorials or DAWs, bro. Like, how are they doing that shit back then? Crazy work. Another thing is like, okay, so my econ teacher was talking about like inferior and like normal goods, right? So if you guys take econ, you know what that means, but like for those of you guys who didn't, like inferior goods, honestly I didn't really pay attention, so, but like inferior goods are like things that you would typically buy if you were like strapped for cash, I guess. And then normal goods is like normal stuff. But like, when it says normal stuff, it basically means anything that's not bad. So like, let's say, if you consider like 1-ply toilet paper to be like an inferior good, then like 3-ply toilet paper would be like a normal good. But like, so would like 27-ply toilet paper. Now, like, obviously, like, I don't know why anybody would want 27. Oh, actually, wait, hold on. Oh, okay, let's not talk about that right now, but okay, we'll talk about that later, actually. But yeah, I was thinking about that, and like, so like, in some of the examples, he was like, all right, guys, so, you know, this guy's income is pretty mid, so he invests in the inferior good of bikes. And we're like, okay, that makes sense. And then he goes, but yeah, so he got a raise last week, and now he invests in the normal good of yachts. And I'm sitting there like, okay, well, like, okay, this makes sense in the context, but are yachts really a normal good? Like, cause then, like, cause every, like, I don't know, I guess, like, it's relative. I don't really get it. Honestly, like, when he puts it in a question form, and I ask me, like, oh yeah, it makes sense. But like, in the grand scheme of things, like, it just, it just confuses me a little bit, you know, because like, you're telling me that like the yacht is a normal good, but so is an orange. Like, I don't know, man, because I feel like if you're buying a yacht, you're not very normal. Maybe that's just me. But going back to the 27-ply toilet paper, so the college has like this like 1-2-ply shit. I don't really know what's going on with that, honestly. It's very thin, very sad. Usually at home we had like the ones from like Costco. Those are pretty fire. I don't really know what ply that is. I never really checked. I actually thought it was from Costco. I love Costco. Anyways, but 27 ply doesn't sound that bad. I mean, I guess you end up with like thick ass rolls. How thick would 27 ply even be? Also, like, would you only need like one square if you had 27 ply? Because if a 27 ply is just 9 3-ply stacked together, like that's a lot of like 3-ply sheets of toilet paper. You know, in fact, I think that might be a little bit excessive. Look, if you could stick with like, we could just steal with like 12 ply. I think 12 ply is good. You know what I mean? Then you really only need like a square each time. You know what I mean? I don't know. Might be losing it a little bit, bro. But yeah, so that's also like, that's also a good point. Damn, I'm really thinking of things today, bro. You need to put me on Shark Tank with all this shit. Okay, so I'm gonna like rant about something real quick, like moving a little bit away from like the random thoughts. Okay, just a little like bit of a rant. Okay, so I'm biking, and when I'm biking, I like to go fast because, you know, it feels cool. I'm be legit, like going fast just feels cool. Nothing else to it really, and I guess I get to my location like faster or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But like, we have a lot of roundabouts, and I'm trying to go through the roundabouts fast. And like, the problem with going through the roundabouts fast is that like, when you're turning on a bike, you gotta lean, right? And at a certain degree of lean, my pedals will start scraping the ground. And you might be thinking like, yo, why don't you just like, when you're turning, just have the pedals like horizontal instead of vertical, so you can lean the maximum amount of distance before it scrapes. And in theory, that way it would never scrape, right? Because like, you really can't lean that much. Okay. And I say, good point. But remember, I'm trying to go fast, okay? So I'm actively pedaling while leaning and turning, which honestly doesn't feel very safe, but I haven't fallen yet, so I'll deal with it when I fall, I guess. But like, because of that, my pedals are always at every position. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and it just scrapes. And low key, like, okay, it's done this a couple times now, and I haven't really like found it at that big of an issue. But to be honest, it does kind of scare me a bit, you know, because like, I feel like it's very easy for me to like be going a little bit too fast and then hit my pedal on the ground a bit too hard or lean too much, and then I'll like spiral. And because I'm going so fast, like, it's obviously gonna be a pretty bad like crash, right? So I've been trying like not to scrape my pedal a lot, but it happens around like maybe once a day, which is honestly my own fault, but like, zoom, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like a solution to that, but I've asked some of my biking friends, and they're just like, yeah, man, you just gotta cope with it. Like, it just don't turn that fast, I guess. Or just build up speed before you turn. But like, they don't get it, but you lose speed when you're turning. You gotta keep pedaling. Whatever. Okay, I think moving on from that though, I think what I really, really want to talk about, something that's like I think really made my week, if not like my month, if not like my year, is so I watch a lot of League esports, okay, and as of recording this audio, like 2 days ago, G2 Esports made it into the quarterfinals. All right, and like I could not be happier because here, I started playing League around 3 years ago, okay, and ever since I started playing League, I've been a fan of G2, right? And I'm sitting here. I remember when I first started watching them, they had Flacken and Targamas in their bot lane, and I was like, and looking back, like, damn, they probably sucked with that roster, but I don't really remember. That was too long ago. But yeah, so I've been a fan of them for a long time, and I've watched them make worlds every single time and miss out on quarterfinals every single time. And this year, I was coping so hard. I was like, guys, G2 is winning worlds. This is the year. And they actually made it into quarterfinals, and they look decent. Okay, to be honest, like, do they look like they're in form to beat, like, an Easter team? Like, not really, you know, and it is what it is. But I think, like, I truly believe that G2 can scale and become a team good enough to contest with Eastern teams in the playoffs. And you might say, like, oh yeah, bro, that's hella cope, man. And you know, if it is, it is. If it is what it is, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna be a fan of a team for 3 years just to like not believe in them as hard as I possibly can, you know? And seeing as how like we've already made like the first step of like progress that we've made in like 3 years, I'm like very optimistic. Now, like, of course, like if they draw Genji here and they lose, like it is what it is, you know, there's nothing you can really do about that. But yeah, I'm happy for them. And I'm happy that like we made it out to playoffs, or made it out to playoffs at least once in this modern era, because you know, like the decline of the West has been really rough these past couple of years. And like, you know, I'm Asian American, but I was raised in America like my whole life, you know, like as much as I love these Asian teams, you know, I think something about the West being like underdogs just like makes me root for them, you know what I mean? Like, okay. So that's like really made my week. But like, speaking of that though, so I'm in the West Coast, right? And California. And the time diff to like Chengdu, which is where Worlds is like insane. So the G2 FlyQuest game that got him into playoffs was at 4 a.m. for me. So it's actually ridiculous. And you might think like, okay, well, you had two options, right? You could just stay up until 4 a.m., pull an all-nighter, or you could like sleep before, wake up at 4, and then just like be up really early that day, I guess. But like, you know, I got dorm mates, and me, instead of like being a smart individual and sleeping earlier and just setting like a silent alarm to go off like through my earbuds, I was like, hey, why don't I sleep at 1 a.m. and then set a YouTube alarm to play through my earbuds so it wouldn't wake my dorm mates, to wake up at 4 a.m. and then watch the game and then go back to sleep. And so that's what I did, and I woke up at like fucking 4. The game before that ended so really fast because they got stomped. So I missed game 1. Watched games 2 and 3. Watched G2 win it all. Let's go G2. All right, and then I went back to sleep, and I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll just wake up like 10 or something, grab breakfast, go to class. I woke up at 12:30 and had class at 1:10, and I was like, damn, am I fucked, chat? So and like my eyes hurt so much too. I don't know. I think like something about like waking up in the morning after like doom scrolling like that, or like watching something like in the pitch black, like really does something to your eyes. I don't know. But like, damn, my eyes were like in insane pain, bro. And then I woke up and I just like dealt with it. I guess when I went to class, I was like, well, I think it was all worth it, you know, to watch G2 make it to playoffs after like 3 straight years of just failure, bro. You know. All right. Okay. Something I thought about, like, kind of recently is that like the concept of like Nostalgiabait in like our current generations, right? So I'm a current college student, right? And back when I was a kid, I was reading like Percy Jackson and shit. And like when I was a kid, I was like, damn, Percy Jackson is the GOAT. Like Rick Riordan, this guy knows what he's doing. And a couple years ago, he released a continuation of the first original 5 books Percy Jackson wrote, book 6. He calls it like the Senior Year Adventures, like book 1. Technically, like it's basically a sequel series, I guess. And I'm gonna call it book 6 just like for the sake of like clarity. And I read book 6 a couple days ago. I found it at Target and I was like, damn, you know what? I am gonna read this. And you know, honestly, I thought it was pretty good. You know, like even though like I am in like college now, I have much higher literary analytical skills. And like I read like so much more high level content and watched so much more high level content throughout my life compared to back in the day when I was reading Percy Jackson. I feel like it still like holds up really well. And and like the thing that like I'm thinking about is that like it's hard to differentiate that from like actually good content or if it's just nostalgia bait. Because like when I was reading the book, I felt genuinely invested. You know, like I sat there and like nothing, just like dead silence, just reading the book. And I sat there and I read for like I don't know, like 3-4 hours straight, and I finished that book. And I was like, and I thought about it, and I was thinking, is this like really good content, or is this just nostalgia bait? Because like when I was reading it, I thought like, damn, you know what, this is pretty good and matches up to the quality of before. And you know, I think this validates like what I was thinking before, like when I was a kid. But it's not like what I would like, but like looking at it now from like a analysis, like analytical view, it doesn't like hold up that well. But I feel like it's still a good book. But it's hard to differentiate between like what I'm feeling as like nostalgia bait and what's like actually like true of like that. And I think I feel like at this stage, I don't know if I'm just like a sentimental guy, honestly, and nostalgia hits me like pretty hard. So like for me, like a lot of things, even if they're mid, if they're like nostalgic, I'll still consider them to be pretty good, right? Although like I guess one example of like something that just doesn't work anymore, I think, is just like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I don't know if you guys remember Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That shit was like the GOAT back when they only had like 8 books, and then they have like 20 now, which is insane, by the way. Well, yeah, like even though like that series is like insanely nostalgic for me, I own books like 1 to 11 at home. Like seeing, like I read some of these newer books. I was standing there in Target reading some of the newer ones, and it just seems so bad. Like, you know what I mean? Even though it's like insane nostalgia bait, I guess. But I don't know. It is interesting to see like some of these older series be revived, and like the reactions I have like now to them, rather than like what I had before, right? Okay. Okay, speaking of that, not just kidding, not even like what I'm gonna say next, like not even related to that, but as of recording this video, or recording this audio, Wolfglick, so WolfeyVGC, has posted like a video about like him moving forward and like what he's experienced through like the Pokemon community. Now like obviously like there are like a lot of issues, and I'm not gonna like say like what I think because I'm not like that deeply into it, but like it is kind of sad because the whole reason why I love Pokemon, well, I mean I don't like love Pokemon because of Wolf, but the whole reason why I love specifically like the competitive side of Pokemon so much is because of Wolf, right? And I don't own a Switch, but with the news of Pokemon Champions coming out, I've been trying like pretty hard to like get myself at least like acquainted with the scene, like decent at like the gameplay, at a level where, you know, I feel confident to maybe like compete in some locals when Pokemon Champions comes out. And it's very sad to see like someone like you looked up to so much like talk about like a community that you want to be a part of and like openly condemn it. But like, you know, like these, but like I already knew like a lot of these issues were a thing. Like it's not not a secret, honestly. A lot of people like talk about like, oh yeah, like sexual harassment and like just inappropriate behavior within the Pokemon community. But like I feel like seeing someone as high profile, literally like Pokemon VGC's version of Faker, like openly call it out like this is like quite sad and honestly like a bit of a reality check. It like, yeah. But I think it's ultimately good if this like, if this spurs on like a change in the community for the better. Even though like even if Wolf does end up leaving the scene completely, I'm happy with like what he like left us in the end, I guess. But yeah, so you know, I'm hoping like he still stays. I'm a big fan, always have been. And I love like watching him play, watching his content. So you know, it's a bit of a shame if he actually leaves. I don't really know where I was going with that, but yeah, I guess I was just saying like it's a bit of a sad video, I think. Because like these issues like the Pokemon community haven't just like been recent. Like they've been here for quite a while now, I think. Definitely several years, and the Pokemon team's pretty new, so several years is a lot. So, speaking of Pokemon, which has a card game, speaking of card games, Riot Games is coming out with their own card game soon, Riftbound. So, they had their own card game a while back, like online card game though, it was called Legend of Terra. They ended up shutting it down because I think it like didn't get enough like players and like not enough funding or something like that. I don't know, not really too sure, but they shut it down. And honestly, I didn't hate it. Like I played it, and it was alright. I mean, personally, I feel like I'm not like that big of a fan of like online card games, you know. I think like, or at least like the Legend of Terra online card game, it felt very like one-dimensional. Maybe that's why they like shut it down. I don't know, or maybe I just like wasn't good enough at it. But yeah, so they're coming out with this new card game, a physical card game called Riftbound, and it comes out October 31st, which as of this recording is like very soon, right? So I'm very excited for that. There are a couple local card shops in my area, so I'm gonna go pick them up. And like I'm in a college, so I'm sure like some people will want to play. I'm very excited about that. I was looking at it and I was thinking like, yo, maybe like I think the Victor deck I really wanted to play. I think that one was like go wide, or, like swarm, depending like the terminology you use. So yeah, this is a small side note. Okay, this audio's getting kind of long. I want to leave it like one last little tidbit. Okay, so just like a little while back, I told my friend, like, yo, I'm gonna start doing things as if I were famous. So I think I'm gonna stick with that theme. I think it's kind of funny actually. I'm not like doing it for any like real reason. I think it's like kind of a troll idea, and I have nothing better to do with my time, so might as well. So if anybody's watching this, what do you guys think? Like, should I be less rambly? Should I be more rambly? Because I'm doing this like off the top of my head on my bike. I'm biking around. This is 1 a.m. right now. So yeah, let me know if like this style is nice or if there's any issues. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. I guess I'll see you guys next time. No confirmed date for next time. We just have to see, I guess. Wait for my brain to generate more thoughts and more things to talk about. Alright, see y'all.